This podcast episode is brought to you by Reality Defense Incorporated, located in Pleasanton, Texas. For more information on courses, visit realitydefense.net.
Practical, efficient. Again, that officer that just got off shift, he doesn't want you to BS him. Just get to what he needs. So when he or she goes back on shift, they can use it if they need to. If you've never been in a case that will determine whether you have not just a job, but whether you're going to be indicted because someone feels that's what it is.
Yeah.
Man, you haven't been a police officer long enough.
Blue Grit Podcast, we are back this week. Your co-host Clint McNear and
Tyler Owen.
T.O. How are you, T.O.?
Good, man. It's getting warming up. All of a sudden I blinked and it was summer outside.
Summer may be good this year after the storms you went through. How's your house?
Yeah, so I'm all those out there that live around Hayes County or Austin, we got some pretty big hail there, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. This is being recorded, so yeah, probably about 3 weeks ago. Disc size hail, like the size of a DVD player. God. I mean, it was disc size, and me and Janet were bunkered down, but it completely shattered an entire evening patrol shift at Hayes County deputies. On their patrol ship between Wimberley and San Marcos. But yeah, so we're fighting to the insurance, notifying them and kind of going sorting through all that.
He sent me video and it sounded like artillery fire, like maybe they were getting mortar rounds coming into their house.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So welcome to Central Texas. I mean, I'm from East Texas. We got little pea-size hail, and that's something, catastrophic out there. I'd never imagine getting boulders fall from the sky. So anyway. Yeah. How's everything with you?
All good. All good. I cannot complain. I'm excited to have a guest co-host on, the one, the only, Joey Sepulveda. Welcome on, Bob.
Thank you.
By the way, this is not sponsored by Sprite. He just likes the flavor. So, Sprite, if you're interested in sponsoring, you can give us a call here at Tmpa.
So, contrary to Leighton, calls it Sepulveda. Give us the sexy pronoun. I want to hear from Joey how it's pronounced. Sepulveda. Oof. Tell us who we got on today.
This is a good friend of mine, Jesse Noriega. Very well known in the San Antonio area. He knows what he's talking about. Good guy. He's one of the guys, I will tell you that. And he's got some good envisions for law enforcement all across the state of Texas.
Cool.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey, before we kick off, what's going on down in your hood? What's going on in your area of operations?
Well, let me tell you, a lot. I've started about 3 to 4 new associations down in the Bexar County Hill Country area. Shout out to Floresville, POA. And Bernie, and let's see, Castle Hills out there, and Windcrest, and of course Converse, and a few others that are now starting to come across and wanting to start their own association.
Cool.
Have you ever been to Bernie?
I've been to Bernie, Bandera, all down through there.
Have you been recently? Like the last couple of years?
Man, no.
I'm going to tell you right now, the last time I went to Bernie was probably 2012, so I went down there a couple weeks ago with him. I messed around and I got lost. And driving home back to Wimberley through the Bernie area. Well, number one, Bernie's is blown up. It is massive. They're building another high school now. It's a 6A, and they're building another 4A, right?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. So that puts things in perspective, right?
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah. So I was kind of blown away by that, and I think I misspelled the damn word in the text. Of course, Mr. San Antonio here, the Mr. Bandera, Texas, gave me shit about it. So for those that don't know Bernie, I'm going to flash it above the screen. That way you can get the correct spelling. Just now learned how to pronounce New Braunfels and Atascosa, so I'm working on that.
But dude, you got those two down now.
Down. I wake up every morning and practice those two. So if I can now practice Bernie, man, we'll be A-okay.
Tio, when did you say the last time you were in Bernie? Before this visit?
Like 2012.
So 2012. So that was the old PD that they had, right?
So I wasn't even. I was in law enforcement, but I wasn't a part of the TMPA.
Oh, I got you.
I was visiting.
So what did you think about their new building?
It's nice. Yeah, you think I didn't picture what I walked into. It is a nice,
Pretty nice.
Hell yeah, it's nice. The chief there is really laid back. Former local association president. Now he's
nice.
now chief. We've seen success with that in Galveston. So you can tell he's just a cop's cop. But yeah, cool.
Chief Steve Bettis, he's really cool, down to earth. I've known him since he was a senior patrol officer. Saw him in my career move up the ranks, and now he's the chief of police.
That's cool.
Good guy. He opens his doors to just about anybody.
Just about. You can see why.
Yeah.
He let both y'all in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, he saw him and he said, "Oh, he's okay. Who's that other guy? Oh,
it didn't last
it's
very
Joey. Okay, never mind. Go ahead."
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought he was bringing in a prisoner.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway.
All right. Let's kick off, man. Tell us, we like to start kind of on the ground floor, build up. Tell us where you grew up, where you were born, and tell us a little bit about you.
Man, well, I'm a native San Antonian. I'm the first generation American in my family. My parents were immigrants. And
Where from?
From Tamaulipas, just across the border from the Rio Grande Valley.
Okay.
Cool.
Actually, my mother from Tamaulipas, my dad from Piedras Negras, which is across from Eagle Pass.
Yeah.
So, born and raised San Antonio. If you're familiar with San Antonio, I'm from the west side, the shallow west side. Now I'm proud of it. Growing up.
Whereabouts of the shallow west side?
It's what we call the 23 side, so it was a rough side of town, unbeknownst to me growing up, right? And what I mean is there was never a time when I wasn't proud of it. I just didn't know I was growing up in such a rough spot.
You only know what you know.
Absolutely. So to me, it was growing up, I think I saw my first body when I was in the 4th grade.
Holy cow.
So episodes like that were typical, but proud to say I had both my parents, more my mom than my dad, left to the Marines at 18, right after graduation.
Hoorah.
And did 8 years as a Marine.
What was your MOS?
I was a 58, 11, and 12. Military policeman and canine handler.
That's fixed to say. What does that mean?
Yeah. So
5811's MP, basic MP.
And so I had to follow up with that.
I was shaking my head like,
Typically, we'll give those.
Hoorah. Hoorah.
Did you go to Lackland or Fort McClellan?
Lackland, actually.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah. So as a military policeman, when were you there?
First 3 months of 92.
First 3 months of 92? So I was there in the last 3 months of 92.
Okay.
So for you guys who don't know, the Marines would train their military policemen in Lackland with the security forces. Not intertwined, but same facilities.
Marines, Navy, and Air Force.
There you go. So I was in the last class that was taught at Lackland. Then I did some time there as a dog handler, getting trained to be a dog handler. And then was an explosives dog handler in the Marine Corps for some years. Lackland's
got a renowned canine program. Really, yeah. Really significant canine training program.
That's where I got my first Nella, my first dog.
Oh, right. Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was rejected from DOD for being an aggressive lab. Do you believe that?
An aggressive lab. We're going through MP squad, stand out and watch all the canine handlers that were in training. I'm like, man, that would be cool.
Until you learn how much they work with them, and you're like, oh, God.
Yeah. I'm not into commitments.
That's true. I never had any kids, all right? But that was my kid, 24/7.
I hate sleeping with my wife sometimes, but that's a dog. Sorry, Jen. I didn't mean
I was going to say, wait till you get home.
That came out wrong.
Yeah, not that. Wow. All right. I'll have to edit that shit out.
We're good.
That was
going
to be my question.
Yeah.
You get to cut it off.
Yeah. I can edit that shit out. Anyway.
So, that's my time in the Marine Corps. After that, I did 10 years as a reserve Marine. Matter of fact, did some time up here with Camp Mabry.
What made you pick MP? Because everybody in my family was law enforcement, so MP was kind of a natural thing. Did you have any law enforcement family?
No, not at all. Actually, it was, I felt I had to get back at my recruiter, to be honest with you. Because I asked him, hey, what do you think I should be? I didn't know any Marines. I had seen a Marine. That was the brother of one of my friends. And I said, dude, that looks badass. I'll do that. So that was my drive to be a Marine. So the Marine recruiter, I was that kid that they wanted. Walked in and said, I'll sign a 20-year contract right now. Right? No work for them.
It sounds like you probably didn't need a lot of combat training. Lived on the west side of San Antonio.
Well, yeah, there you go. So
I've seen more bodies than a recruiter.
yeah. So on a
Go
side
forth
note,
and conquer.
on a side note, later on as a Marine, by the time I came up with this idea, I had 12 years probably as a Marine. But if I had to write a book about my life, it would be titled "Everything I Learned About Being a Marine, I Learned from My Mom." Because I'll tell you, you talk about covering a line and do your bed in the morning.
It's true.
I don't know if she likes hearing this. Now it could be called abuse. But she took my brother and I out of elementary school, dragged us back home because we didn't make the bed one day.
That's good stuff.
It is. And
Nothing wrong with that.
I'll tell you, we'd cringe before we walked into the door. So we lived in the projects at this time. We lived in the projects. We call them the courts in San Antonio, going back to me growing up. We'd cringe if we saw my mom with a look of, I've been waiting for you. Because we knew we were going to walk upstairs, condos, the projects. Our condos.
Did you tell the drill instructors, this is pretty easy because you haven't met my mom. This isn't bad.
Can you amp it up, please? I'm not used to this.
His ass gets cut loose for the weekend. Can I stay?
Are you sure you don't want to catch me on that?
Yeah. See how I'll get back.
So
That's awesome.
So anyway, so did my time as a Marine. Going back to why an MP, the recruiter tells me, dude, I've got this badass job for you. It's called security forces. Oh yeah, you're gonna be like the SWAT team of Marines.
Yep.
Well, who doesn't want that? What he neglected to tell me, is that after that, I'm gonna be a grunt. Now, no problem with being a grunt. I was a grunt later on in my career. No problem with that. But I just felt like, dude, you lied to me. Mm-hmm. You lied to me. So now I'm gonna make your life miserable. You're going to give me, I want this job. Now, keep in mind, I didn't think like this. At 18, I was just pissed off that I felt somebody lied to me. If there's anything my mom taught me as well, it's like, dude, you don't lie. You don't let anybody lie to you. So he's like, I want to be an MP. Can't. There's no openings for it. Well, remember, I'm the kid that walked in, said 20 years. No work for him. Now he's got to work for me. So I made him work for me. So when he got it, I was like, shit, I don't want to be an MP. I want to be a grunt, right? Because that's what this guy was in uniform that I made that one time. By this time, I've done my research, and grunt is where you want to be. So I took off as an MP.
That's funny. I've got one in the Navy right now, and I've got one that's in high school about to join. And I told him the exact same story. He goes, when I get up there, the recruiters are going to be a lot of pressure. I said, they are, but you call the shots in there. And he goes, what'd you do? So I walked in, told them what MOS I wanted, and they told me there isn't a spot available. I said, cool, see you later. And he went, bull, but I could probably find that spot. I'm like, okay, well, when you do, call me.
Yeah.
And he told me it won't happen. And then suddenly he was able to make it happen. He's like, okay, so it's negotiation. I said, yeah, but it's like going to buy a car.
That's right.
You're the one calling the shots. You don't have to buy the car, but you negotiate till you get the deal you want, not what the used car salesman recruiter.
That's right.
That's funny.
Right.
That's exact. Just had this conversation like 2 weeks ago with my boy.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, so I have a younger brother that's in law enforcement and a Marine. I'm stationed in the West Coast. He calls me up, says, guess what? The recruiter just kicked me out of the office, said I'll never be a Marine. I said, why? Because I said I want to be an MP as well. And he wanted to give me something called security forces. So my brother is pissed. I mean, he's been looking at being a Marine. But as a matter of fact, he wanted law enforcement. I never wanted law enforcement. He wanted law enforcement. He wanted to be a policeman. Well, we're both policemen now.
Did he want to be an MP because his big brother? Because you were?
You know, I can't say that because he had aspirations for law enforcement before I did.
Okay.
But I want to say that I made it easier for him because my next comment for him during that conversation was like, again, just like the used car salesman, right? Dude, give it 2 days. He's going to call you and ask you if you have a driver's license. You need a driver's license. You specifically needed to be 19 and have a driver's license to be an MP. Sure enough, 2 days later, his recruiter's coming, man, do you have a driver's license? Get in here. You know? And so he followed the same path I did.
Cool.
He did 4 years. I did 8 years. And we're now both policemen. Been policemen for over 20 years.
Cool. Same agency?
Same agency, yeah.
Cool.
Good dude.
So, to our guests watching, he works for one of the largest metro departments in the state, an unnamed, but one of the top 4 or 5 largest agencies in Texas. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of tactical training in the service, and that's what kind of led you to the tactical aspirations whenever you did join the PD, or when you left and got into law enforcement?
Man, I was very fortunate. I received a lot of tactical training as a Marine, as an MP.
Because oftentimes some don't, right? That's an accurate statement. So, I mean, a lot of guys, you know, and this isn't any shot at any
some
Marine.
claim they do. And
This isn't any shot at any Marine, but you think, you know, prior to my law enforcement experience, is you think Marine, you think every single Marine gets like top tier Navy SEALs, top, and that's not the case.
Sure.
Right? But
and I won't claim I got Navy SEAL training either, right?
No.
But I was very fortunate to meet some very good dudes.
Yeah.
That felt I was probably a good piece to their teams. Probably had a lot to do with my dog too.
Yeah.
That I had canine capabilities, but that opened up a lot of doors for me to be able to get some pretty high speed training. I'll tell you, I was 22 years old, learning how to do explosives breaching. You know,
which was probably big back then. Not a lot of people did it.
No, absolutely not. So a lot of these courses that now in the tactical world we see as, holy smokes, it'd be pretty cool to have that capability in our team. Man, I was doing it in my early 20s.
Yeah, back in like the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Hitting on my age a little bit. Yeah, early 90s, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was 2 big shifts too in tactics in the MPs, but also in the military also. So like pre-Shield and Storm, a lot of MP work was garrison police work, like driving around in a squad car, working the main gate, doing DWIs. When Shield and Storm happened, the Iraqis were surrendering so fast that they didn't know what to do with them. And so they had to shift a lot of MP training from garrison police work to how to manage a POW, how to manage mass surrender of prisoners of war, and so more field MP work. So that happened in Shield and Storm. Well, then in the GWAT, when the global war on terrorism kicked off, that then changed a lot of tactics because we went more from kind of some traditional fighting and managing to the GWAT was more like guerrilla warfare, and the tactics changed a whole lot. So there was 2 pretty big shifts in it, and it's really transitioned into the civilian SWAT and police tactics too, because in my career, I've been retired 10 years. I never would have thought about like vehicle-borne IEDs or somebody wearing an S-vest, and that wasn't a reality years ago in police work. And some of the considerations nowadays that you have to think about are totally different. And it's a rabbit trail conversation, but you hear a lot of people go, "Oh, the militarization of law enforcement." Well, when people are bringing combat-style techniques to a civilian, you got to have some sort of way to counter that. And although it may be scary to pull up in a armored vehicle or to have to wear a kit, it's the nature of the beast now. But it's weird to see the dynamics as it changes.
How hard was it transitioning from the military training and tactics to the civilian law enforcement aspect? how far different are they? And then also, how well did those mesh, and how easy was it for you to transition to both? Because you see a lot of that with a lot of tactical teams across America. Let's just call it what it is. Where a lot of SWAT guys have served in special ops in the military, and then you see it. So explain that transition process, and how difficult was it, or how easy was it?
So, like I said earlier, I had no law enforcement aspirations. Reason why I became a dog handler is because it allowed me to stay in San Antonio for 9 more months. There was probably a gal involved in there somewhere in San Antonio. That's a whole nother story.
Allegedly.
There, right?
Allegedly.
But I got out of the Marine Corps due to a breakup. Decision had to be made: stay as a Marine, come be a dad. We know the answer to that. It's come be a dad. So, man, I leave the Marine Corps with no job, not knowing what I was going to do. That's how quick that transition occurred. And so much so that I almost walked back to the recruiter and said, dude, send me back. More because of the structure. So, but I was very fortunate in that I only had a 4-month break between my active duty time in January of 2000 and starting the police academy in April.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a blessing.
Of that same year, yeah. And back in the day, it would take you a year and a half maybe to start an academy. If you were fortunate, and I was, it was only 4 months. During those 4 months, I'll tell you, those were probably the most turbulent months of my life. As chaotic as my world's been after law enforcement. No structure, nobody to tell you what you had to do, and you woke up and try to maintain. So my first day, all this leading to this, the first day I'm at the police academy, and where I'm at, I'm getting yelled at. I'm being told how many push-ups to do. I'm being told how many sprints to do. And I said, I'm home. This is structure. I can understand that. So it was a real smooth transition, except for those 4 months, mainly because I saw what it was to not have that.
Yeah.
So I was grateful to have it again.
Did you stay in shape those 4 months? Stay ready?
Hell no. Hell no.
Fat body.
Now, I was lucky that I was 45 pounds lighter. So, pure will at that point.
Yeah.
But they quickly got us in shape. I'll give credit to some of the great instructors that were there. Just phenomenal. I could say that I had a great experience at the police academy. So my transition was a good one. Not to mention, I was getting paid. That was the most important part. I can feed my kids, house them, and so I was in heaven. But I will say that I was quickly thrown into the fray after the police academy, and I was going back to what you asked about training in the Marine Corps. At that point, after a few months, like, hey, where's the training? Where's the follow-up training after the FTO program? Yeah. After being thrown to the streets? It pretty much wasn't there. It wasn't there. And so...
That's a reality across our state, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I remember back to the guys in SWAT at the time who, for whatever reason, whether because they had the time, were proactive, putting on some of this training for patrol. And that left a huge impression on me, that I felt these dudes, in my mind at the time, these dudes don't have to be at my level. They're up there. Mm. What are they doing? Spending their time trying to give us training. But I'll sign up for it. And I did. So to get back to your question, it was a smooth transition just because of events that dropped me, no structure. I started climbing back up, but once I reached the plateau and wanted to get back to what I felt was the norm, tactical training, always doing something, it was, man, I've got to seek it by myself. I got to seek it out. And just like a book, I always tell my daughters, man, if you're going to read a book, read about the author first. Is he or she credible? What's their ideological views? So that you know what you're getting into. And you can attain your own opinions based off what the writer's writing.
It's good advice.
So that was my transition as far as training was concerned. I had to seek it myself. And since then, it's been a constant battle to try to get it myself.
Speaking of training, how often did you train in the Marine Corps? How did that look like? Was it very often? And then looking in law enforcement to kind of give a contrast and comparison of, man, this is a huge difference. And I trained, once every 2 days, once every 3 days in the Marine Corps, and then we're not training like once every 6 months. And again, I'm not discrediting anything with the Marine Corps, but the reality is this: is that the American police officer more than likely is probably going to come in contact or have a violent contact more often times than a Marine Corps MP or an Army MP or a Navy MP. And so the thought process is that Marine Corps, Navy, Army, all these MP guys in the military are training far more often than the American police officer or the Texas police officer. And so that, I guess that's what struck a nerve with you or caused you to kind of react or act.
Well, sure. So one of the things I saw when I was in Virginia was that the civilian agencies around the base there, Quantico, Marine Corps Base Quantico, were after the programs the Marine Corps provided. One, they were free, so they didn't tap into their funding, their budget. Two, they were pretty top notch for the time.
Never heard of it. Never heard of Quantico.
Really?
Oh, no, I'm kidding. It's like the best shit. Yeah.
I feel for that one.
Joke, yeah.
A beautiful base, beautiful area,
Yes.
beautiful people. It's all, overgrown now as far as the metropolitan area. But so much so, they saw that training so much so that we had an exchange program where every police academy that Prince William County would hold, they would allow one Marine to go through. Now, again, I want to make sure your viewers understand this is not typical of a Marine MP. For me, as a dog handler, and then in what we call the special reaction teams, the base version of SWAT teams for their base, I had a lot of time, not on my hands, but I could help decide what was going on. So, not to say that I was self-serving, but I was basically that extra guy. So when they needed to fill that quota, it's like, hey, send that extra guy. Well, it worked to my benefit, right? So I get to go through a police academy. I get to go through all that. One of the things that I say about the military, my experience with the Marine Corps, I'm not sure, what base were you at? At this point, I'm guessing you're a Marine and a dog handler. Or
No, I was not
MP.
a dog handler. Yeah, I was an MP. Yeah,
Where were you at?
5811 Pendleton.
Okay, so I can't speak for a base like Pendleton, who deals with so many more things than I did in the small bases I was in. I was in El Toro, I was in Quantico, I was in Okinawa. But a typical MP...
That's Japan, Joey.
That's Japan, yeah.
I got you. I got you.
And an island.
Yeah, no.
So...
Water.
Yeah, that means there's water around it.
Gotcha.
Surrounded. But the military member is disciplined.
Right.
So majority of the people you're dealing with have discipline. That's on the positive side. On the negative side, if they want to cause damage, they can. Fast, right? But typically, and again, I'd like to get your perspective. I was never in Pendleton. That's probably where I know you from. See, when were you there?
91 or 92, 93.
Dude, you were there. Do you remember Simonet? No. He probably came after you, after 93. Anyway, he's a turd.
I thought y'all have like books. Don't y'all read like the picture books?
Just pictures.
Marines don't read.
Yeah, so you can't say read and book.
They crayons.
Yeah, it's the picture. Anyways.
Yeah, the crayon thing gets me though. That wasn't around when I was in.
The purple ones are really good.
But yeah,
So good.
That's pretty cool. So, so we had a lot of time to train.
Right.
We had a lot of time to get these programs going that we wanted to. Flip it around to the civilian side, man. You're a troop. You're out there. You're handling cases. You got limited manpower. The Marine Corps, again, I'm not talking as a matter of statistics, but the impression is you need 100 police officers or MPs. we're sending them to you. Out here, you can't do that.
Right.
You know, you got to hire. You got to, you know, we see what's going on. So training is outstanding. Not a lot goes on. Out here, a lot goes on. Training sucks.
Yeah.
So
Well, you made a great point about a lot of training in the military, but not as frequent opportunity to have a violent encounter. But one of the differences is, like you're on a base like Fort Hood where you got, 30 or 40,000 folks, and you got some guy with extensive special forces training who loses it due to PTS or whatever. You're going to have your hands full trying to deal with that guy who's may have negotiation experience or sniper experience and, all these vast amount of experiences.
Yeah, he himself is a weapon.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so, but it's a valid point. A lot more training, less frequency of opportunities. But unfortunately, when one of them does happen,
Yeah.
You got your hands full of it.
Yeah, there's 30,000 Steven Seagals walking around. I ain't want to buck with that dude.
But even with that point,
Absolutely.
even talking now, or in law enforcement senses, now we're starting to come across those type of calls,
Oh, yeah.
and us or law enforcement in Texas, we don't have that. We don't have that training, not even a little bit, to kind of like even to hold back until we do get, reinforcements or more
Yeah.
officers. Coming from a small department, we talked about this earlier. Just we don't have the ability to get on the radio and 15, 20 units get out here.
Sure.
It's like you and your partner, that's it, man. We better hold hands and pray and let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One thing the military does really well, as far as the MP side of it is I guess train or instill some sort of maturity a little bit, because you got 22 and 23-year-old cops running around here, sometimes doing stupid stuff or making bad, even off duty. I mean, just doing stupid stuff that we do. But it was a wake up call, like being a 19-year-old MP, PFC, which is just about lower than the janitor, and you pull over, lieutenant colonel on base, and he starts trying to tell you to shut up, and you're the one that has to control the scene as a nobody MP, and you have a guy about 49 ranks above you, and you're trying to professionally mitigate and deconflict because he's clearly way outranks you. And that was something weird to wrap your mind around, because I wasn't the most mature 19-year-old, 20-year-old. But they do a good job of it because there's a lot of success in it. But I didn't realize it till I got a little older looking back. They do a really good job of preparing young people how to manage that responsibility. And I don't know what that recipe is, but they do manage that well.
I agree. I agree with the part that I have no idea how I did it back then.
No, I don't either.
Looking back and look at some of the dumb stuff I was probably saying and doing at the time, but we manage. You're
Yep.
absolutely right.
Well, I guess a couple months ago, 6 or 8 months ago, Joey called and said, "Hey, I've got this training group out of Atascosa with RDI. Jay Blade McCullen just got hired as the new training coordinator. I think you guys met several weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Great guy.
There's some good things coming out of this other training program that you are now the president of a separate company, RDI, and you guys are out of Atascosa. Now that we know what fuels the fire of why you think training is so important, you definitely have the background, and I think what sets it apart. Typically, you have just military guys, just law enforcement, but I think the mixture of you have military, you have the law enforcement, and then you have the combination of the tactical experience mixed in all that. Plus, you're just a real likable guy and approachable. I'm not sure why, but you tactical guys, sometimes you get a can of hairspray and you get this. Some of them just kind of have that non-approachable attitude, but every time that I've talked to Joey, you haven't had that. So let's talk about the RDI and let's talk about what training that you are looking forward to and wanting to push to the patrol officers, non-patrol officers, CID. You've got an upcoming. I guess it is a plainclothes course. I think that we're going to try to push out. So, talk about what's important to you guys.
Sure. So, as a tactical guy, by the way, that's a title I try to push aside right away, but it's a description.
Yeah.
So I get it. Teaching on that side, the tactical side, I think I have a bird's eye view of what training is needed, what training is efficient, and what training is practical. And by efficiency, I mean that patrol officer that just got off shift and is being told you're going to this class. He doesn't want you to be there with 8 hours of filler, BS training. I'm not big on verbiage. As you can tell, I have an accent. I was told I have a Colombian accent one time.
Colombian accent.
It worked as a pickup line.
All right.
That was a segue, but
I was going more Panamanian.
Panamanian, yeah, it goes with the name. Again, I could tell your age just by that. So, those of you that don't know, it's look up. What is it? Operation Just Cause, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine going to boot camp right after that operation, and General Manuel Noriega. I was like,
Only
Manuel,
two
get
things
up
come
here.
from Texas.
He's your deal.
Yeah. But for the sake of the podcast, I'll get away from the Marine Corps again, because you notice how it keeps leading to that. Never put two Marines together. Practical, efficient. Again, that officer that just got off shift, he doesn't want you to BS him. Just get to what he needs. So when he or she goes back on shift, they can use it if they need to. And that's been our guiding principle. Just be efficient, be practical, provide the training that's needed at the patrol level. Nothing tactical. I always tell this to my students. If you want to look tactical, let's put 30 minutes aside. Let's take cool pictures.
Yeah.
And let's get that out of the way. Now let's get to the decision making that's going to take you microseconds. That's going to change your life, by the way. Because if you've never been, what I'm going to say hunted, but if you've never been in a case that will determine whether you have not just a job, but whether you're going to be indicted because someone feels that's what it is.
Yeah.
Man, you haven't been a police officer long enough.
I had a friend of mine with the Marshal Service. He said this. It was probably the best advice he ever gave, because we had a lot of guys on the teams and on SWAT teams, other SWAT teams. But they try to make themselves look tactical with the "I'm your Huckleberry patches" and
Sure.
the
I'm an
stupid shit.
operator.
I'm an operator. But he said the best looking tactical outfit out there is the most practical. I had fucking electrical tape shit.
There you go.
Whatever works.
Yes.
That's the kind of best shit that you need to happen. But anyway,
We talked earlier about training and the transition to training and how it evolves over time. And, in the 90s, it was like, hey, you're patrol. You don't need to know anything, tactical.
Right.
Because if things go sideways, then you call SWAT and you surround it and hold the perimeter till SWAT comes. And really, things have changed so much now that, like the agency I'm from, to really get a full team, a full call out and to get a team there, you're talking 50 minutes, like ideal. I mean, that is an ideal world. And because of all the shootings and just everything that's gone on, the training you guys offer to a basic patrolman is needed more than ever, because the surround and hold it for an hour while SWAT get here, a lot of that's changed, and it's weight on a buddy to get here, and by God, you're loading and going, and it's important those guys have that, especially you get somebody that's 8 months out of the academy, gets pulled up and all they can hear is automatic gunfire. You better have taught them something more than, pull your little 9mm out and run blindly.
Sure.
And I think it's more important now than ever, some of the training and preparation that you guys are looking to roll out.
And one of the topics we could talk about real quickly for patrol, for example, that you could never speak about early in my career. Keep in mind, again, I came in April of 2000, sworn officer by October of 2000 that same year. Those of you Marines trying to do the math, that's over 23 years. Hostage rescue. I don't think people realize patrol takes care of many hostage rescues.
yeah.
But not in the traditional sense that we think.
Yeah.
Not the tactical sense. But if you go to a call, you've got a suspect holding a hostage, and you talk to him correctly, and he lets go of that hostage, you just took care of a hostage situation. You took care of it at the patrol level.
Yeah.
If you say the wrong thing, you could end up with a hostage,
You
in more danger or dead, or you have to call out the whole SWAT team, and the whole department's got to shut down for a little bit to take care of this critical incident. So patrol officers are vital. One of the examples I use in how, so let me take a step back if you don't mind. I teach civilians about every 6 months in a civilians patrol academy. I do the SWAT portion. And the question always comes up, man, when you're in SWAT, that's pretty dangerous, right? You have a very dangerous job. Sure. Yeah. I get called out when it's there. It's hit the fan. But really, think about that patrol officer that responded. Usually it's a barking dog call, right? Older lady just wants to sleep. I want you to come talk to me and tell my neighbor to tell that dog to muzzle it. You show up. I always ask this. How many people do you think that they send? How many officers do they send to that call? 1. So you're there at the doorstep. You step in. If you're smart, you step in or you tell them come out. Just like a traffic stop. Never stay at the threshold. You go in. Patrol officer goes in. Talking to this person. But her grandson, in my scenario, is in the back sleeping and is woken up by a police radio. Well, and what you don't know is that he's got a parole violation that's going to send him back for 10 years. What do you think he's thinking?
They're here for me.
They're here for me. And that patrol officer that just wanted to go eat but is handling this last call before he asks for a break has an all-out shootout. I said, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. By the time I show up, I have the luxury most of the time to ask questions, get a recon, get oriented. And, by the way, I have a bunch of dudes that think like me, and we're all going to support one another. So our training is meant for that officer.
Yeah.
That's going to walk in knowing that anything can happen, but hoping that it happens one way. But we forget sometimes the bad guy has a say-so.
Yep.
So going back to our training, our philosophy is practicality, not just what's cool today. One of the other things I'm real proud of is we actually have standards for our instructors, believe it or not. I don't just get guys that's like, hey, I mean, Joey, I'll use you as an example, but this is not what happened to you, right? Wow. It's not just, hey, Joey, we're buddies. Come and teach this class. Man, I want to know, hey, Joey, do you have the background? Can you back up what you say? And these officers are very diverse in experience, in departments, cultures. Can you herd all these cats, send our message, and when you kick them out of here, at the end of the day, are they better for it? If you can do that, man, you're in. If you can't, we'll keep drinking beers together, but let's not talk about teaching. And so that served me pretty well in hiring instructors. And I want to say that everyone I hire has a pretty good background. They're good dudes. And they're going to stay with that mantra.
Is RDI an acronym? Does it stand for something?
Yeah, so the full name is Reality Defense, Inc.
Okay.
Again, going back to my accent, can't say that. Probably say that once a day. Can't say that fast. So really the rebranding was for my own sake.
I got you.
And so now it's just RDI.
Got you.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm from East Texas, so I understand the accent.
You have a good friend of ours there at RDI too. Shout out to Eric Kaiser.
Oh, Eric Kaiser. That's a good dude. I don't know if you know he retired as sheriff.
Retired as chief.
As chief from Jordanton.
He's now lieutenant.
A lieutenant.
With Atascosa.
At Atascosa.
Yeah.
Atascosa.
Loving life, I think.
Yeah.
Enjoying himself.
He is.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if I ever hear a name, and I don't know anything about that name, I'll call Eric. Hey, dude, who's this guy? Eric knows everyone.
He's better than calling NCIC.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude's pretty cool.
Hey, that's who I called when I first came across Jesse and RDI. So,
Yeah, that's right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's where I was grateful that.
Why are you going to say it all narcosy? Like the way you lean back and like.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think he even sent a CI to greet me first. Gave him some information before he felt worthy of or he felt I was worthy of shaking his hand. But
That's funny.
My old DEA days, man.
and I'll tell you, our police world it's a small world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say nationwide because I'm sure I won't go to Georgia and run into someone I know, but you never know.
Well, it is. It is. I mean, we just got back from D.C. and
Yeah.
it's crazy the people you meet. Leighton Canary was up there one night, and he was visiting with somebody that attended a class that you and Leighton had went to, and they started chit chatting, and it's just amazing. Really, this is a close knit community. Really, when you kind of venture out of your comfort zone.
Sure.
Yep.
And so, anyway, yeah, it's just kind of interesting.
And the geographical areas naturally have their own culture.
Yeah.
And it's real interesting.
100%.
Yeah, it's real interesting to go to the West Coast, and we could talk about California all day long. Right? That's a
Shit,
whole
Texas
other
is much. Yeah, I mean, Texas
But-
has its own culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
You come to Texas, and I'll tell you, North Texas is different from South Texas. And East Texas is, I don't even know if we have a West Texas. I mean, El
Yeah.
Paso, is that still part of Texas?
Yeah, West
Yeah.
Texas and
Yeah.
Midland.
And I asked that real
Yeah.
as a joke, but it's all out there.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine what those guys are dealing with.
Yeah.
Being on the border. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm not one of those guys that's, man, I'm going to stay in my own little world. I think a lot of us like to get out there, shake hands, and say, hey, here's what I do. What do you do
Yeah.
in this situation? And you have a whole different
perspective.
the result's the same, but the way they get to it is real interesting sometimes. So,
Yep.
yeah, police work, man, you got to love it. Again, talking to a cop that never meant to be a cop.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, loving it here.
Well, and our non-LE listeners, the reason you have a lot of military in law enforcement is law enforcement's a very paramilitary organization, and so when guys and girls get out of the military, they're looking for structure, a brother and sisterhood, a uniform, consistency, a mission, adrenaline, and it's a very natural transition to continue when you get out of the service rather than trying to figure out, well, I guess I'll go sit in an office all day, every day, and peck away at a computer. So how many years at your current agency? 23?
Yeah. 23 and a half, right? Because at one point that mattered a lot, that 6 months,
right.
right? That
That's
gave you
right.
that seniority.
7 and a wake up.
Yeah.
How many on SWAT?
12 and a half.
So how many more years you looking to do before you pull the plug?
Man, don't hold me to this, but I'm hoping 3.5.
Okay.
3.5. At this point, it's more about how good am I going to sit on retirement financially?
Yep.
And am I enjoying my job? I could tell you, yesterday I walked away from work saying, damn, that was pretty cool, man. So I'm enjoying my job. So
Don't stop while you're having those days, because I will tell you, you'll know when you're done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're still walking away going, man, that was a good day, I like that, you're not there.
And I'll tell you, I think you guys will agree, don't walk away burnt out either.
No, I agree. There's
Right?
a sweet spot.
Right. And that's that's not what you're saying, but I just wanted to add that because, man, you don't want to look back at your years and let them be defined by the last 6 months of the time you were there.
We had a couple of guys stay too long, and probably about 17 or 18 years in, I thought, I'm not going to be the angry, bitter a-hole roaming the halls that used to be kind of a department favorite, that now everybody hates them and avoids them because they're the bitter I was like, I will never do it. And when I hit my time, I had 23 in Tmpa. And I didn't realize it as much as my family were like, you're not getting up chipper going to work anymore, or you're starting to burn a lot of vacation time that I used to have so much comp and so much vacation. And finally, I woke up one day, I'm like, yep, I'm pretty much done. But I had a young officer call me from North Texas probably a year ago. And he's like, hey, I know you retired at 42, and I'm done, I'm going to leave. And I said, okay, so tell me what you do. And he goes, well, I'm a canine handler. I said, okay. I said, well, tell me about it. Man, I'm catch dope, and I've been getting loads. And, I mean, I can hear him getting pumped talking about it. And I said, but I know you don't know me, and I hope I don't hurt your feelings, but you're not ready. And he's like, but, sir, what do you mean? I said, dude, I can hear you getting so excited right now, like you're about to put your uniform on and go back to work. And you're not ready to retire. Oh, I guess I am doing that, aren't I? I was like, yes, man, you got me excited, and I've never been a canine. And I said, you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know.
Best time of
that's a great way.
Best years of my career was when I was assigned somewhere with my dog. I literally would wake up way early and just be like, what does today have for me today? What's going to happen?
Those are good days.
Those are good days.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, we are going to be pushing out again and co-branding some upcoming training. We'll be pushing that out on our Tmpa website and through RDI's webpage as well. And so we will put the link here, and we will put it also in the description of the podcast. We like to end each episode with 3 rapid fire questions. I hope you studied for them.
Here we go.
All right, let's do it. What's your favorite cop line? I fucked it up. What's your favorite cop movie or line from a cop movie? That was a good one. I did that one.
Favorite lie from a cop movie
Or a cop movie, either one.
is favorite lie is re-racking that shotgun after they've racked it, prepared it to fire.
No. Line. Like cop line.
Oh shoot!
It's that East Texas accent. Talking about the accent.
That's all right.
Like Make My Day or
La respuesta en español.
That was
Since you have your your East Texas accent, I'll take out my Spanish. But I don't know if I have one. I'd say
cop movie.
I'll tell you the most realistic one was probably what's that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal?
End of Watch.
End of Watch.
Yeah.
That's a popular answer on the show.
Yeah, had some parts that just weren't like, no, dude, don't ever take off your gear and try to fight a dude.
Yeah.
Can't do that. But it'll land you 3-day suspension, according to my good friend. Yeah, that ambush scene in the end.
Yeah.
We actually use that for one of the counter ambush courses we have. So yeah.
I told my boys, I introduced them to that show, that movie probably 6 months ago, and I said, if you want to understand the camaraderie, the sense of humor, the dark humor, the bantering in a police car, the most realistic version I've seen is End of Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did a good job.
What is your favorite cop car? All-time cop car.
Man, well, favorite one is the Explorer that I currently drive, but I had my most awesome adventures in a Crown Vic.
Yes.
So,
Because they're not good cars. There was an adventure.
yeah.
You said a Ford Crown Vic?
A Ford Crown Vic
Ford Crown
without
Victoria.
the pre-laptop.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
So you can maneuver. And the reason why I say that before your viewers get some ideas is because you had to know you had to know
adventures.
yeah, you know, some of them are chuckling. You had to know how to handle that car,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did.
especially a little bit of drizzle. You know what I'm talking about, a little bit of drizzle.
Yeah.
You better know how to handle that car
I took out many fences because of the drizzle
and I'll tell you,
in pursuits.
if you've never taken out, and by the way, this was reported. It's all official, so I can talk about it.
It's taken care of.
Yes. If you've never flattened out
Time served.
4 tires at the same time, then gotten out and been surprised that you bent all 4 rims at the same time, you haven't driven a Crown Vic.
Did you guys ever run into, this is a squirrel moment, there was the 2005, 2007 range, there was a fuse in those Crown Vics, and it went to the fuel pump, something with there was a fuse, and if that fuse went out,
Yeah.
you couldn't crank the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to. Was it the shut off in the back? In the trunk?
I'm not really sure.
I think it was.
It was a reset.
It's a reset button.
It's a reset. You had to open up the trunk and go reset it.
It went off, and so we had to get one of our units towed to the shop, and it was a big cluster.
Then the mechanic probably charged you all $2,000 and just went and reset
Oh, cheap.
the button.
We had to figure it out ourselves.
But it probably wouldn't happen on a Chevrolet.
No, the Caprice, we didn't have that.
We didn't have
The
chip.
Chevrolet.
Yeah, no,
We
that
didn't
one.
take fences out either.
The Shamus. Oh. Now talk about a ride in the rain with that one.
Oh, that would have been a cluster.
Because it was pure power,
That
baby.
was all it was. There was no weight in the back.
What's your favorite drink of choice when you're relaxing off duty?
Man, You got me on that one. I'm supposed to say something manly right about now, right? Some whiskey, name something, but anything with alcohol that relaxes me.
It can be fine, man.
Good.
Shirley Temple, we're okay. We're all comfortable here. It can be whatever you like. Pina colada.
A good margarita, man. I'll be honest with you. A good margarita.
Yeah.
Frozen or on the rocks?
Frozen.
All right. Yep. Frozen. I'm not mad at that.
Especially, I don't know why. It's so cheap of me, but especially if I can see the machine where they're getting it out of. I don't know why it makes me happy. Like
Slurpee machine.
Maybe it reminds me of the 7-Eleven getting the Slurpee on my own. I don't know, but that just allows me to. That's a good day.
What is the deal with San Antonio? Me and him were together one day on Saturation, and y'all have got all these pull through, like margarita daiquiri places.
It's a margarita daiquiri place.
I know, but I'm saying like they're all over the place in San Antonio, like all over the place.
I want one of those.
Not
Dude.
all. Hey, it's not all over the place.
There's like 16 in San Antonio. It's not.
Okay, so
I'm not complaining. They were good.
We need those in North Texas.
They were legit.
it's a big barn, and you just drive through. And
But he ordered it.
Oh, now he's gonna put it on me.
Yeah,
He
it was,
ordered it.
oh my, yeah. He was driving, and so anyway, I have to continue this story later on.
Yeah, sure. But
Yeah.
15. There's 15 of them.
See,
There you go.
15.
Only off by one.
I was, yeah. I counted them all.
You know what's the bad part about that? It's usually in the bad part of San Antonio.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't see that in the La Cantera area.
Those that know me know that I don't really frequent places that have all the working light bulbs, so I'm okay with going to.
The only thing I'll catch is that he was about to say it in Spanish. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
I caught
He stumbled a little bit.
Narcos again. You got anything else?
Where can listeners, viewers find you and RDI?
Yeah, our website, realitydefense.net. I'm not sure we're supposed to say www.realitydefense.net.
You don't even really hear people say that anymore, do
Right?
you?
Yeah. Again, tell our age when we have to think about that.
On the World Wide Webs.
Yeah. Yeah, so realitydefense.net, you'll find our website, find information. We not only put on training, but we also host great instructors at our facility down in Pleasanton, Texas, just 20 minutes south of San Antonio.
Is all training in Pleasanton, or do you guys take it on the road some if the ability is?
Man, I'm glad you asked that. That would have been my plug-in earlier. But no, we'll travel. We'll travel to you. We'll travel to your agency. So a lot of our training is based on an agency saying, hey, I'll host it so that I can save money.
Yeah.
Right? Give me 2 seats, and then you handle the rest.
Perfect.
The you being me. Tmpa members, we do have a 15% off Tmpa discount for all Tmpa members that want to sign up for any one of our courses. That is extended based off our partnership. So I appreciate you guys.
Perfect.
Outstanding.
Real quick, just to end on it too, not just because I know Jesse and because good friend, but he's a hell of an instructor. You don't have to, listen to me, but you can ask Jay, and you can.
He says this to all the boys.
I know. I'm gonna now go to all these podcasts where he's talking.
He says that to all the boys.
and Sean, no, but he does. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's how to talk to the students, and I've talked to the students afterwards just for our perspective of for Tmpa, and they have nothing but good things to say about his classes and him as an instructor.
Well, that's cool because we got to have legit people teaching in this day and time.
Yeah.
Because it seems like everybody out there now wants to be
Absolutely.
Tactical.
I was former super secret squirrel, and I can train you on this. And you watch some of their videos, and you're like, oh, dude, that scares me to death.
I was at a conference, and some guy was talking about how he was going through this training, and did they legitimately ask him, like, well, what unit were you in? I can't tell you. I said, what branch of service? Can't tell you. And I was like,
I gotta kill. If I tell you,
this
I can't.
dude is full of shit. And it was like, what law? I can't tell you. And I was like, well, God, what can you tell me? So
But I told you 5 minutes later that I was just kidding, right?
yeah. It was crazy. But
I was
Yeah.
in Boy Scout Troop 1201.
Yeah, no,
Walmart, the
absolutely.
Walmart tactical group. Anyway, well, hey, you guys take care, stay safe. We're going to drop the RDI information down in the description, and we're also going to be pushing out some social media videos and push outs here in the next couple weeks. I can't thank you enough for coming up and greatly appreciate the partnership.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Been fun.
You guys take care. Stay safe. Conference July 26th through July 28th. Visit tmpa.org to get registered. Greatly appreciate you guys. You guys take care. Stay safe. God bless you. And as always, may God bless Texas.
Texas.
We're out.